No, she don't sleep and the lip keeps feathering.
Yeah, today is halfway day. We just did Rochester last night, Flower City Station, and it was a really fun show. A bit of an unexpected turn last night. It was funny. We set up the show with our friend's personal blend, and we were already really excited about that. But we had just been in Buffalo the night before with our other friends, Roots of a Rebellion, and they had been on their way to Syracuse last night to play a show, and they broke down in Rochester and called me about an hour before we got on stage. And they were like, "Hey, so we broke down in Rochester, and we were wondering, can we come jam with you guys tonight?" So we went and rescued them and had them come open up, and it ended up being a three-band bill. And a couple of the Giant Panda guys came out last night, as well as Thunderbody personnel, and it ended up being like a really special night. It was cool. Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, it's been really cool. Then we premiered it on Root Fire, and that was it was a huge step for us. You know, it's something we've looked up to for a while, and the response has been overwhelming, honestly, through social media and as physically at our shows. Since the premiere dropped, while we were already on the road, we've had people showing up at our shows now because of the premiere and asking us to play the song, and that's how maybe they learned about us. And it's been a lot to take in, honestly. We've never released anything that way before. Party Wave is a complete independent release, totally in house. And yeah, it's been a big step, and we've been nothing but elated about how it's gone. Well, this is it's definitely the next step in our lives as musicians. We've taken I guess you could say a bit of a more serious turn, as we've all grown a little bit over the last couple years, and really are affected by the way the world is right now. And this is Surface is kind of an opportunity for us to express ourselves in a way that's a little bit more, I guess, mature and aware of how things are today. And I think maybe we still keep the hype. Like, there's a couple hype songs on Party Wave, and we try to continue that level of energy. But we've taken a little bit, I guess you could say, a heavier turn with this record. Yeah, it's you're definitely gonna have to listen to it and give us your feedback on it and how you feel about it. But I think that it's a more serious record than Party Wave for sure. We're all very, very excited about it. I think it's all open to interpretation. As a songwriter, like I don't like to be overly direct when it comes to. I don't want to tell anybody how to feel or be too basic. I love to give people food for thought and really let them interpret it how they want. But it's definitely inspired by um, just my and all of ours. We got a couple of the other band members are sitting in behind me now. There's Dylan and Walker.
What's going on?
Definitely inspired by how we feel about things and are really expressing our emotional reaction to how things are today, for sure. Yeah, it was cool. I just come home from a trip. I was over in Seattle. That's where I was born. I got a lot of family out there. It's a pretty heavy place to go visit for me, and I was just really feeling some kind of way. I felt great, man. I had seen a lot of people I hadn't seen in a long time. I was just feeling really good and really inspired. And yeah, I just sat down in my studio one night and came just fiddling around with that little lead that you hear right in the beginning of the song. I mean, as soon as I touched my keyboard, that kind of came out, and it was just like light bulbs. And yeah, I found some sort of like a mental space that I really hadn't really I was longing for a long time. I just with that moment, that little inspiration that happened as soon as I started touching my keys, I found this place of inspiration that I had been really longing for, and the lyrics just kind of fell out. That's really what it's about finding this elusive muse or thing that it just just happened. And it was crazy. It's almost, I can't totally explain it. It's definitely one of the most like in the pocket recording producing sessions I've ever experienced. But yeah, I think that song just really, I don't know. I feel like it was already there, and I just discovered it, and it happened. It was great. So I actually connected through Rootfire. Our manager, Caleb Turner. We brought him on a couple months ago. Great, young, awesome, energetic personality. That he actually travels with the movement. And he's on the road doing merch for the movement right now. And he's also going to be touring with. There's another group. He's touring with a folk band later this year. I forget who he said they were. He actually got a tour managing position as well. But he's had his sights set on managing bands for a while, and yeah, we met and we hit it off, and I thought that he seemed perfect for the job, and we gave him a shot. And first thing was first. He reached out to his connects at Rootfire with sort of what we had going on. I sent him some bounces from the record, and right away they were like, okay. And I think within 2 weeks he called me. He's like, so Rootfire is going to premiere the single. I was like, wow, okay. Yeah, it's pretty wicked. Well, it's as simple as it sounds. um, it was, when before we were even really a band, I was producing music. I have been for a long time, and it's about 6 years ago now, I think. I was working with a buddy of mine by the name of Dave Richards. He's now the bass player for Shaggy when Shaggy goes on the road. He's an awesome, awesome guy. And yeah, we were he was kind of recording some bass lines for me for a while, and I just wanted to. I didn't have an identity. I was a producer. I had all this music, and I was kind of searching for an identity. And I had this memory back when I was in grade school, really young. This kid thought Ellameno was a letter, and I thought that was hilarious. Because I mean, like the way that it's like one kind of thing that rolls out of our mouth. So I don't know. For some reason, that was bouncing around in my head at that time, and I kind of brought the story up to him, and it's like, yeah, I'm looking for an artist name to identify myself by, and it's kind of had this memory. He's like, sat there for about 30 seconds with his hand on his face, and was like, well, Ellameno Beat on the end of it. And I was like, all right, cool, that sounds good. And so the Ellameno Beat was born right then. And again, at the time, it was just me producing music. But very shortly after, Dave invited me down to the studio in Miami that he works out of, that Sly and Robbie are affiliated with. Actually, it was crazy. It was a diamond in the rough opportunity, and they really encouraged me to start a band because of the songs that we had. They're like, this stuff's really good. You guys should start playing live. You play live, and I was like, no, just make songs in my room. And so that I mean, within the 2 weeks of that whole the name happening, we had the band, and these two were original members, Dylan and Walker. I've known Walker since he was a real small guy, probably about first grade was when I met him. He's a couple years younger than all of us. He's the most talented one in the band, I think. He's a wicked musician, and he used to play guitar, epic guitar player, and we stuck him on the keys because there was nobody else to play the keys, and he just picked it up right away. And Dylan here, we're all from the same town. I know Dylan from the beach, growing up surfing. All of us surf together all the time. But yeah, I didn't quite go to school with Dylan. He was like kind of cross town, went to another high school, but I knew him from the water, and he honestly didn't even play bass when we auditioned him. He was just like a dude that we knew that seemed like he was talented, and yeah, he picked it up really fast, and yeah, that's how the band was born. Unfortunately, our drummer James, he's not here with us right now. He's in another van that kept going. We're stopped at Starbucks right now on the way to Harrisburg, and James is driving the other van, so he's not here. But James and I met each other in 5th grade. We were in school band together, and we're all through high school as well. So him and I, I guess he was the first person I reached out to. He was the musician that I was closest to when we started the band. But yeah. Yeah, so right now, unfortunately, our horn section is not on this run with us. They're really busy and awesome people, and they can't always make time to tour with us. So in our touring show, it's always changing. Commonly, we bring the horns on the road with us, and it's the best thing ever. But unfortunately, for the rest of this tour, we are only a 4-piece, and we got Walker here is really, really holding it down. We've given him some opportunities, being that he's covering where the horn sections normally are, with like a lot of really, really tasteful like classic organ sounds and stuff, like very like Jackie Matu inspired, I would say. But as far as our live show goes, I mean, when we do have our horn section, it's such a special sound. I mean, anybody that knows a full horn section is just like it can't be replaced. You know, it's huge, it's impactful, and it's amazing. What I can say is that our live show on this tour has become so focused and locked in. I think as this we've been touring as a four piece now, like we've really dug deeper into the pocket as a band, I think, than we ever have before. Um, and yeah, it's just so groovy. We've been really having fun, just locking in, and sometimes, things change. We improv during sets when the moment is right, and grooves just happen, and a lot of like reaction to audience energy. Like last night was really live. There's a lot of people were really into it, and we ended up going off on a bit of a tangent last night just because of that, and got really groovy with it. And I honestly, having a four piece is it almost gives us a little bit more freedom to do so, being that the four of us are the ones that originally started this band. We're so locked into, we're just so in tune with each other. And yeah, so to sum it up, I would say for the rest of this tour, if you're gonna come see us, expect like a really, really tasty groove. Well, again, Stoke came up in the same hometown. Stuart, Florida is where we're all from. I've known Mike Carroll, the owner and shaper of Stoke. I met him when I was probably eighth or ninth grade, but we really connected about 5 years ago. And he took me under his wing, actually taught me how to shape surfboards. I make boards as well once in a while. I don't do it for a living or anything. It's just a fun thing for me. But over time, being in the shaping studio, we really just hit it off. He's a musician as well, a very, very passionate reggae music lover. And yeah, over time, we just connected so hard and became best friends, and just thought it would be wise to collaborate our efforts. Definitely. Yeah, it's been a really huge. I mean, that surfing culture has been a really big part of our entire creative process. It's really what makes us all tick as musicians and friends, and it's just a no-brainer for us who we are. That was how we grew up. That's what we've always done for fun. All of our songwriting is in some way, if not completely directly, inspired by our experiences in the ocean. And though I realize that like the surfing connection is becoming really common in reggae. There's like people are really considering a lot of music like surf reggae. But one thing that we're really proud of, like touring with Stoke, is really like sharing the actual culture behind it. It's something that's so dear to us that it's not just like a sport or something we do for fun. It really is like how we tick and how we operate. And yeah, especially this guy here. Everything to Dylan, man. Like, and yeah. So I mean, and for instance, Dylan and I were sitting together writing that song "Too Deep." Like it was we were living together in this little apartment in Jacksonville Beach. It was like 30 degrees over the winter, and we're sitting there writing the song, and like it was just one of those things that it just came out, like I had these ideas. The majority of the song was written, but I remember like we would get hung up at a spot, and Dylan would just like always be like, "Whoa, what if you say this?" What if and instantly like totally set off an entire line of the song, referencing it to like a barrel ride or something, like the line like "Mist clouds my eyes" in the song "Too Deep," like that was a Dylan, like just say mist clouds my eyes, and like boom, there it is, and it becomes a surfing reference slash like totally makes a lot of sense for a lot of other reasons. Yeah, so we have not released any of our official tour dates after this June tour yet. We're going to be dropping dates soon. But yeah, we're going to have a real busy summer. As soon as we get home, I guess June 30th is technically the last day on this tour. But a couple days after that, we're turning right around and going back up north, and we're going to be doing some North Carolina stuff. We're linking up with our friends of Good Nature. I believe that's July 3rd in Wilmington, North Carolina, at the Whiskey. And yeah, so we're excited. And It's going to be, July's a little scattered. We're just going to be doing a couple, shows every few days. We're not going to be out on a big, thick block tour. We're going to spend some time and gear up for our album release tour and really lock in, learn the album the way it should be played on stage. Surface was recorded in my home studio, and some songs are things that I do, like for instance, like Muse, or there's a couple tracks coming up on the record that happened overnight. Me by myself in the room, just hammering it out in the studio, and so there's going to be lots of tour preparation going on in July to really just walk in this tour and make sure that we can give Surface to the world, live and in the studio version the best that we possibly can. And so it's going to be really fun. We're going to be doing a lot of our scattered shows in July are going to be our sort of, I don't want to say trial run, because we will never put anything on the stage that's not ready, but it's going to be us finally breaking out and playing our album live. We're already playing album songs on this tour as well, so it's another thing. If people are coming to see us, expect to get a sneak peek of the record, because it's just it's bursting out of us. We want to get it out to everybody, and so it's coming out in our shows. Yeah, well, honestly, Silvana is definitely one of the shows that we're most looking forward to finish out this run. We played in Harlem 2 years ago now on our first tour, actually. And that night at Silvana was so good. It was such a fun experience because A, none of us had ever been to Harlem, and B, we walked into the venue and there was these world-class jazz musicians playing on the stage in tuxedos, and people are drinking martinis and being very, very classy. And we were super nervous. We thought we were in the wrong venue, and we were like, what are we doing here? We're some nappy, long-haired kids from Florida trying to play reggae songs, and these people are world-class jazz musicians. And jazz band finishes, and the venue, everybody that was all, very clean cut and looked like they were just going to really just laser eyed focus, watch us this whole set, they took off their suit jackets and got all comfortable and went and started ordering beers and got up and danced to us for 2 hours straight. And it was the weirdest experience, yet most fun thing to ever watch. Just a whole audience completely transformed from jazz club, best behavior scenario to reggae show, show us your best dance moves. And I can't wait to have that happen again. I hope it does. Fingers crossed. Sure. Okay, so the EllaMenoBeat.com. It's kind of like our hub for if you want to, you can go find our music on iTunes or Spotify. From there, you can check out our bio. We got photos, just kind of the general press page. But we're always on the Instagram vibe, and it's just same thing, just at the Ellameno Beat on Instagram. Nothing fancy about it. No spaces or underscores. It's all mashed together. Facebook, the Ellameno Beat. We're on there. Please make sure you look us up on Spotify, man. I gotta get those Spotify numbers up. We're hustling that, and I think this Root Fire release was on SoundCloud as well. We're on there. Pretty much anywhere that you can find bands on social media, we're there. So check it out. What am I listening to right now? Let's see. Today on the way here, we were bumping ICO and Dodo Sound. Wonderful duo. Amazing music. Thanks Troy from Roots of Rebellion for showing them to me. Is a woman vocalist that's just got chops. It's very, very creative, and it gets me going like crazy. Also really been listening to Revelation Time. Love that band. Great songs. Steady listening to John Brown's Body at least once a day. Elliot Martin's is one of my biggest inspirations for when it comes to songwriting and lyrics. And that whole band is just out of this world. I don't know, what have you guys been listening to? We've been listening to a lot of Sugar Minot on this run. What are you doing? You got one? Oh, Poupa Jim from France, man. What a wicked MC that is. All right, well, we are the Ellameno Beat. We are really, really stoked to be playing music for everybody in America right now. We can't wait to do it elsewhere. We're going to be on the road for a little while now, playing roots music to anybody that wants to hear it. Big up to all reggae music worldwide. Big up to reggae music in New York. We can't wait to be out there and see all y'all. It's going to be great.
No, she don't sleep.
Awesome, man.